Everyone, live from Studio Finn or whatever. It is another episode of The Bunker. How is everyone doing out there? Welcome to another Reality Skewed Gamers Bunker live stream. I am Finity, and today is going to be utter chaos because currently I have been left to myself. Now, when left to myself, I have complete chaos. I cause utter nonsense. It is just all kinds of craziness here. I see Feminist Sexy Wolf is here. Eric B is here. Jaeger is a bit too late for me. Jaeger, are you sure? Are you sure? We're about to have a complete Finn showcase of complete nonsense right now. Are you sure you want to miss this? Because if you miss this, you're going to miss this. It has been a while, Eric B. I am glad that you are here. I'll give you guys a little bit of an update about some of the things going on with regards to the bunker itself. So, yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about the bunker itself and just have fun. Who's attacking who? Oh, they're just, Apex is having fun. Okay. So, we are going to talk a little bit about stuff that's in the game. We will have some fun with of course, the quiz. We still have the Oasis quiz up. I'm just doing a quick check about all of this because I got all my stuff. Why is it telling me I have nothing left to get? I have nothing left to get. Every day it reads these bundles that I have to buy. Like, everything else red means that there's something free for me to get. So I'm like, yay, I can go in there and get something free. But the bundles, every single time, is just bundles. So, we will talk a little bit about the game, and in particular, I think a lot of us have seen, and I think is gone now, it is the skin event. And to me, the skin event was honestly kind of disappointing. I don't know what you all thought, so make sure you let me know in the chat. We'll kind of have just like a general discussion here. But to me, the skin event was fairly disappointing. I was expecting us to have the opportunity to get a bunch of different skins and to be able to get like different things from that. However, we were restricted to like 2. I only got like 2 skins that I was eligible to pick up. And I was sad about that because there was one that I was kind of hoping to pick up. And if you guys have followed the bunker for a while, you guys will understand if I say that I wanted to get tofu. Now, if you understand what that means, you have been a long time bunker follower. Okay? For the frame collector, it's nice. It's true. So, if you have... It is Finland. That is true, Jaeger. This is good old Finland. But yeah, I was really hoping for the opportunity to get tofu. But the fact that I was not able to get tofu was actually kind of sad for me. Just because I really wanted tofu. And I'll show you guys. Here's a little thing. So some of this is a little bit inside for those of you that have not always followed the bunker. If you joined us late, okay? But if you know who, longtime bunker followers know a mythical person named McVenom. I mean, it's not wrong. You're not wrong. There once was a mythical person named McVenom. It's true. And I'm gonna get myself in so much trouble. I can't agree to that. No, I cannot agree to that. I am not agreeing to that. That is not correct. I do not agree with that statement, Buzzsaw, at all. You're just trying to get me in trouble. I'm all by myself. I'm gonna get myself into trouble anyways. But instead, you're gonna try to get me in trouble with McVenom. Why? Why? What did I do? What have I done to you, Buzzsaw, to actually, no. Buzzsaw, I'm not using your hot tub. You have a reason. Never mind. You can continue. I'm not using your inflatable hot tub. I am deserving of that from you. but if you guys are not aware of who Tofu is, don't even come down. It's true. But so if you guys are not aware of what tofu is referring to, tofu is referring very specifically not to this Chinese New Year skin, but where's the Chinese New Year skin? I will find it here. This one. So tofu refers to this Lunar New Year Dragon HQ, and tofu is the name of the little dragon up on the top. That little dragon I named Tofu because there was an event, if you guys remember, a while ago where they just distributed skins to like the top like 1,000 instead of just the top 100, and I got Tofu and I was so happy. Tofu was in my base. He was like dancing on the top and everything, and I really wanted Tofu, and instead they took him away from me. They took Tofu away from me. It made me very sad. And so with the skin event, I was honestly hoping for that particular skin. But yeah, that it did not work that way. They only gave us like 2 skins, and I think both of them were somehow related to Becca. It was like a Becca skin and the Mother's Love skin and all that kind of stuff. So I think I know who that is, and if that is who I think it is, careful on which account you're on. I'll just leave it at that. Sorry, I was here to watch Phineas and Furry. Am I in the wrong place? No, Phineas is here, and Furry doesn't play this game anymore, so Furry has left. Furry has left. Yeah. Furry has left. So it's all, I don't know what else to tell you. Furry has left. Furry doesn't play this game anymore. And yeah, it's kind of sad. And I know that's supposed to be a play on Phineas and Ferb. I like that show. Just throwing that out there. I love me some cartoons. But let me know what you guys thought about the skin event, because again, to me, the skin event was not all that great. It really didn't push the needle for me to interact with any of the events in game, more so than anything else. The coolest thing, and some of you guys have had this for a while, but it's somewhat new in 359. Oh, it's all done now, so now I have to spend everything. It was new in 359, was the Migo event with the clearing of the underground here, the underground shadow exploration, which was very, very, it's like a combination of Explorer versus the Kamute town, which I know we talked about before, and it was actually kind of neat to be able to do that. I like the aspect of just being able to go in there, to be able to do like your different battles, you find your path, you can clear it out. There were some things as I did this that were a little bit annoying. There weren't huge things. Honestly, overall, this was pretty fun. But one of the annoying things that I realized after the first few attempts is that it doesn't start you in the latest unlocked map. So what I noticed is that it always locks you basically where you, I think it's wherever you last were. So when I first started, I was in this first zone, but I started later in the day and they'd already cleared out like 7 of the maps. And so I started attacking like these random things in the corner, and I'm like, wait, this can't be it. Like, the boss is gone, all these things are gone, what the hell is going on? And then I clicked on the map at the top and saw, oh yeah, we did this, and ultimately got to the last one and did it. But then the next time I logged in, I checked the same thing, and they had kept me basically where I had left off. So I think it would be a nice kind of just easy way to help people understand this event is to just put them in the latest unlocked one, because the goal is ultimately to unlock the last one, right? You have to kill all the little bosses, and you have to kill the main boss. There's a bunch of unnecessary things. It's basically like a giant plague zone, right? And then you move on to the next area. You can kill the other stuff if you want, but it's not necessary. And I think a lot of that stuff was because I think a lot of the maps that were like fully cleared were because people were just there and didn't realize that it was like not the ultimate one. So yeah, so I think that's the big issue here, and hopefully it'll be like if they do this again, and I hope they do because I really did like this event. I thought it was a good event, right? I like the Kamute town, so I like what they're doing with this, but yeah. So I hope that they do ultimately kind of change that. So um, Apex is saying I like that because it let me check around to see if any mini bosses were left. So that's the thing. I don't mind the ability to go back to the other ones. Don't get me wrong, Apex. I do not mind the ability to go back to the old like the old maps to see if there were any mini bosses left. What I minded, and I shouldn't say minded, it was minor in the scheme of things, right? But what I didn't like was the fact that it basically started you at the beginning. Or not at the beginning. It started you wherever you left off, and the first time you did it, it was the beginning. But what I would have preferred is that it automatically starts you in the latest one, and then you had the option to go back, right? I think that would have been a better way to do it. But again, that was minor. Overall, the underground shadow exploration to me was a lot of fun. I thought it was a lot of fun. This particular event was. Shadow Amigo, overall, it's just not all that fun. The digging that you need to do, the fact that you're competing with other people, it gets old very fast. And I think Delete mentioned this last week, which is basically if you're going to be competing for the top of the leaderboard, you cannot miss like a single dig. So if you miss any of the digs, and they happen like periodically, what, every like 4 hours or so, if you miss like a dig, you get like completely screwed. Like you're just gone from the leaderboard because there's people that'll be there the entire time. And like once you miss one, and I missed some early just because I wasn't on, like I can't get on every 8 hours, especially on like work days and stuff. But if you miss one, then it's like, okay, well now we can miss more periodically. And there's been times where I come back and I have like all 10 digs just waiting for me because I just didn't have the time to do the digs when they first happened. Hi, Aerith, how are you? So I think overall, the Underground Shadow, really like that. I like the fact that they incorporated, hopefully, our feedback from the Kamute town and did that, and it was great. But Shadow Amigo could definitely use some improvements. I like the concept of it, though. I like the concept of a long event that allows for players to build their account. And you work on this Migo over time, you do the event, as long as you can get enough to kind of complete whatever you need to in that time frame. And if you're more diligent, you can do it a little bit earlier. And of course, if you spend, you can do it a little earlier. But I think Migo has the good framework for everything. It needs honestly, like a good amount of tweaks, I think, to truly be a great event. Underground Shadow was great in and of itself. So happy with all of that. Glad you're doing well, Aerith. And then Apex saying digging was more fun when people were willing to fight on the sites. Now everyone just runs away. Yeah, it's just I think people realize like it's just not the benefits do not outweigh the annoyance of having to get your like hospital emptied. I think that's ultimately what it is. So we'll see what they do moving forward. But I again, Migo overall is not a bad event. Underground Shadow proved itself to be much better. Skin event, awful. Skin event was truly just awful. They called it like a skin event. You had the opportunity to get the skin. It was limited to 2. Like I don't understand why it was just limited to 2. If somebody really wants the skin, they should have just let everyone like if you have to do all this stuff in order to get the skin, and it was a lot of bios, I think it was said to be like 100 or 200,000 like bios basically in order to try and get a single skin. If somebody wanted to spend that much on a skin, let them pick the skin that they want. Like, why restrict them just to the Becca skins? I honestly have no interest in the Becca skins. I mean, I know she is being set up as, and is basically supposed to be like the eye candy of this game, right? They give you this ridiculous Becca skin. Let's go ahead and just take a look at it here. They give you this like ridiculous looking skin. Where is it? Where is the Becca skin? There it is. They give you like this ridiculous looking skin, right? Becca isn't even a character that we can use in this game right now. We use her mother, but we don't use Becca, right? It is it is an eye candy skin. And that's the like one of the two that they give us. The other one was like the mother, was it the mother's love skin? I don't remember which one that is, but it was I believe it was called the mother's love skin. I think that was Becca's mom's skin or whatever. I don't remember which one it looked like, but yeah. Jane needs to be a skin. She's a babe. She's definitely a babe when they put her rear on the opening screen of State of Survival every time. It's true. They put her opening skin, like the opening screen is Jane in a bikini with her butt facing you. Like that's the whole thing. It's just it's just that's what it is. I don't know what else to do. Like that's exactly what it is right now. So yes, I cannot disagree with you, Aerith. I cannot disagree with you. The bikini Jane is definitely eye catching. That's all I can say. It is definitely eye catching. Yeah. That's all. I have nothing else to really say about it. If you're asking, I'm assuming you're asking Aerith if she's played with the wall destroyer yet, because I am very far away. Apex did have it for SBS, sadly. Oh, okay. You had the wall breaker, but you didn't get a chance. Got it. Durkin called the mutilation on the skin and buys it all again. Oh my god. But yeah, like I said, I think the skin event was kind of disappointing overall. I was hoping for a lot more, especially, I'm going to say the other part of this is that they did the developer feedback and said they were going to test it on the older states and then basically did like nothing with it. Or to my knowledge anyway, it doesn't seem like this was really well tested for them. So that's part of the concern as well. So we'll see what they do. They did today, okay? They did today give some more information in the developer feedback. So here's some information for you guys. It's some information about the developers' feedback that they put out earlier today. So they said, welcome back to our developers' feedback time. We will update our progress on state mergers and future development plans today. State mergers and future development plans today. There you go. Okay, so first, update about state mergers. We have shared the time of state mergers before. That is, we will start testing online in October. The merge feature is mainly to help the old states, and they're estimating the range between 1 to 200, become more active. 12 old states will be involved in our first online test. So we've been asking for it, right? Now, here's the thing. To the developers, if they are listening, the online testing starting in October, for me, right? I know some of and I'm not in one of the older states, and I know a lot of the older states are getting impatient, rightfully so, because they've waited a long time with the very inactive state, and they've seen other people quit because of the inactivity, so they've lost friends and all of this, okay? But here's the thing. I don't want this being a carrot on a stick, meaning you guys are putting it out there that it is going to start online in October. It is the middle of July. You have August, September, and you pretty much have all of October because you really haven't given like a definite timeline within October. So basically, you have 3 months, right? You have 3 months in order to do this. What I do not want to see is they going out. So I do not want to see the devs going out and in October saying there are delays that are pushing it to November. You have given yourself 3 months on an issue that you know has been important basically since I started playing State of Survival. And I started playing State of Survival like 8 months ago, right? I'm not an original one. McVenom brought me in, the fabled McVenom, as was mentioned earlier. But the fact that it has been mentioned and brought up and has been mentioned by the developers. You guys have brought it up too, and there have been some posts on the forums that you've had to like remove, not the forums, the Discord that you've had to remove and update and all these kind of things, right? State mergers or migration has been an issue since basically like the beginning of me playing like 8 months ago. So if you have given yourself a 3-month timeline, it better be ready in 3 months. Because if this ends up being a carrot on a stick where it's like, oh, okay, not October, it's going to be November. Not November, it's going to be December. Oh, it's going to be a new feature in 2022. Whatever it is, that is going to get players very upset. Because you have set an expectation now of October, which to me, reasonable. Some people already say that it's a little bit too far away. And I know Delete hopefully should be joining here soon, by the way. Delete mentioned it that he thought it was like too far away anyways. So to me, that was like, okay, well, I was okay with it, but I understand that a lot of the older players have been waiting. But at some point, you have to stop moving the goalpost on yourself for when it is completed. So they need to start looking at this very seriously. Aerith is saying the newest state is 797. They need to stop releasing states and focus on what they have. So if this is like most games, Aerith, they're not really releasing new states per se. A lot of games have this kind of concept, and what it is that each state server has a maximum capacity. So they only want like 5,000 people in there, let's say. So if they throw 5,000 people, and the servers are more, I'm just saying 5,000 as a figure for the example here. But they throw in 5,000. Once that 5,000 hit, a new state just automatically forms. So I don't think they're really like, I don't think they're actively doing anything to kind of release new states. I think the new states just happen automatically as they get a bunch of people that signs up, and as people sign up for the game, because it is a popular game actually. I think it just opens up the new state. But yes, the fact that they're on 797 is kind of indicative about how much people actually want to play this game. And to your point, they need to focus on the older players because the older players are the most disgruntled. The newer players are just joining. They don't know any better. Take advantage of that. Take advantage of the fact that the newer players are just getting into a lot of this. And then once they get to the stage, even where I am, once it hits plasma, your state changes. The state changed a lot. Like 359 when I was playing, from 1 to 30 was great. As soon as the state finished all their state intel and got into plasma, it has been a different kind of thing. Because the leveling up in your state up until plasma really feels like that, oh, a free-to-play can keep up. The ones that spend are able to get a little bit of an advantage. Free-to-play still have a chance. It's a good concept because it gets players engaged in the game. It keeps them kind of close to whatever is the top. You don't feel like you're falling behind by a huge amount. Once Plasma gets released, you are like way behind. Like way behind. And Plasma basically starts to separate out people, and that's where a lot of the problems come. So with these newer states, you have players that are in that early part of the state where they're still doing state intel. They're not at the point where they're using plasma. They're trying to get all of their troops up. Like, all these things are in your favor to actually work on the older states. Because the newer states are actually good for a while. So, again, I like the fact that they put out a timeline. It might seem like it's a little bit far, but I think it's a good thing that they have done. I just hope they don't push it out anymore. Because if they push it out and say there is a delay, that is going to be like, honestly, that's going to be the death knell for them with a lot of players, because it's just not acceptable at that point. So I'll just mention that. Trading system. So the trading system is under testing now. So the trading system, they said in our previous developer update, we mentioned that a new system that supports item trading between allies is under development. So the fact that they are doing that is actually really cool, right? I think it is pretty cool that they're actually doing that. We are happy to announce that this feature is under the test stage now and is estimated to be released in mid-August. Now, what you can trade and how much of it you can trade is definitely always a concern for these type of games. And to provide an opinion about the trading in this game is none other than the man himself, the myth, the legend. Actually, it's not McVenom. McVenom is now considered the myth. I can't, because she's just not here. But it is Mr. Delete.
How everybody, are you doing, sorry Delete? I'm late. Sorry I am late. Finn, thank you for picking up the slack as usual, as if you needed me at all anyway.
Of course I need you here. But yeah, we were talking a little bit. I know. Real life always takes priority. That's the main thing. So, but we were talking a little bit about the developer feedback. I'll ask you questions about the stuff that I covered already too to get your feedback on it. But we'll just kind of pick up where we were, which is the trading system, and them saying that it's under testing, and sorry, that they're expecting to release it in mid-August. I can tell you, just from a long-time gamer, I have concerns about the trading system. But I will leave it to you. What are your thoughts on the trading system? Do you see any potential pitfalls? Do you think there's any way they need to just like open it up or put some restrictions? What are your thoughts on the trading system?
I mean, it would be great. So it could be easily manipulated, unfortunately. You know, like if you have an absolute whale in your alliance, and they're just willing to go ahead and drop, $5,000 just so everyone has reserves, that's a bit aggressive. You can manipulate it in that regard. If it's just like unlimited trading and here you go, and next thing you know, it's great. It's good for the company, but it's kind of like, wow, all right, oh, that sucks. I mean, it would be good if there was some kind of limit that were realistic, like enough to be helpful, but not enough to be overwhelming, in my opinion. I mean, there's a lot of reserves that I still, even with T11s, don't really need. I'm still in the billions by far. And I send my marches out for to just soul farm and stuff like that. So I'm very much in, upkeep mode. And it would suck if it was just like if it could be manipulated in a way that would be awful. Like maybe you could only trade to like a certain amount to one person in the alliance, over a certain period of time or something like that, or where it couldn't be just completely taken advantage of. That's my thoughts on that. Yeah. It would be nice to, like, if I could trade for something useful, or if you like, maybe it's like, hey, I've got a lot of wood and you've got a lot of, food. Maybe we can do a wood for, whatever trade or something like that. Unless it's just like pure, let me just give this to you.
Yeah. No, and that's basically exactly my concern, right? Is that one, I'm going to put out just one thing in general. The concept is still called a trading system, right? It's not called a giving system, it's a trading system. So the question is, how do you trade in this game, right? How do they value something? So, and what is considered tradable? Are bios considered tradable? Is plasma considered tradable? Are the new like ionized plasma stuff, or what is it called, polymerized plasma, considered tradable? Right? All those kind of questions impact how you can play this game. Because one of the things, so I mentioned this before. I created an alt on 359, not as a farming alt. I don't play it enough to be a farming alt. I can't handle 2 accounts. The main reason I created it was, one, to see how the gameplay was just periodically. So I will log in periodically just to see how the gameplay is on a lower HQ account, right? As the state grows older. But the other thing is to see how the gameplay was for it. And what I realized is that even though I think my HQ was like level 25 or something like that, I am still able to collect plasma. Like, it doesn't stop me from collecting plasma, even though I can't use it. Which means you could have so many little dummy accounts that are just collecting plasma from some of the events, like Plasma Lab. Plasma Lab is where I'm getting the plasma. I don't get it from the Intel, but I get them from Plasma Lab, which means every, like, 2 times that it comes around, every account is going to be able to get that 50 currency in order to get that common stuff, which is like the 2 bundles plus the 40 straight plasma. If I am then able to trade that, that's an infusion of plasma into an account, right? So plasma being tradable could potentially change the dynamic of this game, especially with how much they are focusing on the new Plasma Research Institute, right? The new ways that you are looking at the plasma with the polymerized plasma for 6 through 8. Like, all of those could potentially change, which means likely there's going to be some reduction of what exactly can be traded. So I doubt, first off, that it's everything in your backpack. I don't think everything in your backpack is not going to be eligible. I don't think plasma is going to be. I don't think the polymerized plasma is going to be. I'm going to guess speed ups are not going to be able to be traded, right? I think the stuff that actually, no, let me correct that. Maybe 5-minute speed ups would. Because what I'm thinking is going to be tradable is anything that you see in the market stall. I think anything you can see in the market stall would provide you the opportunity to know what is tradable, right? And then if you can just trade those same amounts with somebody else, it becomes a common thing. So I have it up on the screen right now, right?
Okay.
And I went through a few different screens to actually show you. They may change the value a little bit, but let's just say right now, if I click on one of these, right? Let's say that I trade 40,000 metal for 10,000 gas because I just need gas, right? If I click on that, it's going to then replace it with something else, right?
Right.
The potential option for this moving forward, and I don't know how they're building the trading system, right? They'll tell us. But my initial thought is they make something like that just permanently available inside of an alliance marketplace. And if you have extra gas that you want metal for, that is how you get it, right? So you put up 10,000 gas, and when somebody purchases that, you get 40,000 metal back. You can always pull back the 10,000 gas, but otherwise the 40,000 is there. And unlike the market stall, where it's a one-time purchase and then your RNG for the rest of it, this now becomes a permanent thing as long as somebody's willing to donate. And if you know that nobody has it up there, you ask somebody in your alliance, "Oh, can you donate 1,000 gas? Because I need, I need the gas. I have extra metal. I can give you the metal, right?" So that's the way it would be. Now, if that is that, and feminists, you make the correct point that I was just about to mention. The other thing is that some of these things are biocaps. So I think anything for biocaps would be removed. The thing I was mentioning about the market stall feminists, just saying, you were thinking exactly what I was thinking. Is that any of these trades that are for biocaps would not be there. It's the stuff that's actually for the actual items here, which means there's no chief tags either, right? I don't think you can get combat books for anything besides biocaps, so no combat books, and then also no VIP points, which makes sense. Otherwise, you could flood VIP very easily if you use the same system. So anything that's any of the biocap trades, I don't think will be eligible. I think all of the non-biocap trades would be available, where one person that wants to get rid of it puts whatever's kind of on the top here, and then the other one gets rid of whatever's on the bottom, and it's just kind of unlimited. So if you just have a bunch of gas that you don't need, you can trade it for 40,000 metal as much as you want. So you can put up 50,000 and you can get 200,000 metal back if somebody purchases it like 5 times, right? And that's how I think that's just mine again. No, nothing from the devs, right? So I have no idea what the devs are doing, but just using whatever is in place, I think that would be the way that it would be easiest, because I worry about any of the other things changing the dynamics of the games.
Yeah, because it easily could. You know, it really easily could just kind of change everything if they do it the wrong way. Um, and like, I get why people want to go ahead and make their stuff, you know, like all the stuff that's in your backpack kind of relevant again, you know, because there's a lot of stuff in there that just completely serves no use. Um, but when you allow it to change gameplay, you know, it's a different story. Unless you're talking about trading where it's like you're trading it back into the game and it just disappears. You know, like if I was trading a permanent skin that's extra for a permanent skin that I need, or something along those lines, as opposed to a person trading. You know, where if I could turn my billion, you know, building speed ups into pure res or something like that. You know, like a lot of the people in 125 are basically in the same spot where it's like there's an excess of building speed ups and everything else is kind of like dwindling because it's like research or whatever is still there, but a lot of people are still doing research and so on and so forth. It's not like, you know, people are just building stuff all the time in 125. So all that's just accruing and going and just going absolutely nowhere. Or if it was even like if you were trading back into the game where it was like you were trading extra Matty frags, sort of like they do now with the swap, you know? Um, I would probably prefer it back that way, opposed to person, doing it more where it's just, you know, where it's more like trading it back into the game.
Yeah, and that is possible. So that would be the other way. Before we jump into that one, I'm gonna. So this is what I do in my own head. Delete. So you're getting a little bit of insight. While I have my own opinion on things, right? Whenever it comes like this, and this is why I like this, like ours and other streams as well, right? But when you have these kind of things, what helps is to have a discussion. So I'm reading what people are saying in chat, and I appreciate that kind of feedback. And also, even in my own head, I will try to play devil's advocate, right? So I'm going to play devil's advocate against the same point that you just made, and that was the one that I said before too, right? Which is, I think it can change the game. So the devil's advocate point is, if somebody is willing to spend a crazy amount of money, or if somebody is willing to manage 4 or 5 accounts in order to funnel everything into a single one, right? They're spending so much time and so much money. That is what this game is based on, right? This game is based on either spending money to get ahead or spending time in order to get ahead, but a little bit behind those that are spending. If you have an opportunity to spend more time in this game to build your account, and you actually take advantage of it, instead of playing 4 hours a day, you find that you want to play 12 hours a day, and now you have an opportunity to do something in those 12 hours by working on 3, 4 different accounts that'll actually help your primary account, right? Why should that be a detriment to that person? Like, why should they not be rewarded for the fact that they are spending all this extra time? Where they can, if they want to get, and I saw the ones Apex was mentioning, and that is true. Apex is saying he doesn't need res, but the things he needs are like speed ups, ports, march speed ups, right? And those are some of the things that may potentially change the dynamic of a game. But if they're willing to spend the extra money in order to help somebody else, if they're willing to spend the extra time in order to build those accounts and get those resources, even if it's as something as simple as logging into 12 different accounts every 7 days in order to get that login bonus, right? Why should they not be rewarded for the time that they're spending in order to do that?
Well, if you so, I mean, because the more activity they have on the accounts, just from like a dev side, doesn't mean that they actually make more money. You know, like, so if you're just going to be running, like, if you have 4 different bases and you're just going to be running and waiting for Plasma Lab on those bases, you know, like, you're actually costing the company money because as opposed to you having to pay for it, you're allowing it to be done for free, you know? So that's like, That's an interesting thing. I mean, I also feel like, there are multiple alliances out there that have like robots that are just clicking for alliance help, which is in essence like a messed up thing because you're taking something that is, like for batch healing that the game literally took away for, I forget, it was probably like a week,
Yeah,
maybe
that
a
was
week and a half.
a angry week. That
It
was a
was,
very angry week.
like, so they gave it back, and then it was just like, oh, it might be a loophole, or people are just cheating, and people are just like, all right, now I've got robots that literally just click help, and it's like, all right, I mean, that's kind of suspect. I mean, I guess you kind of get away with it if you can, but if you're, I've always seen that games, if you try and force a loophole onto them, eventually that loophole closes.
Yeah.
You know, so then a lot of that time just kind of goes to waste. So yeah, I mean, if you've got the time and you want to kind of wheel and deal the system like that, more power to you. But I would just be hesitant to take too far of an advantage of it because eventually, I mean, and they've showed it to us in the past, they have the ability to view or look into every single person's backpack. And they have gone into people's backpacks and taken certain items out. Before they made it a swap, they used to just tell you, hey, we've converted all of this stuff into reserves for you, because the event's no longer active. So they can definitely monitor how much biocaps you had and how much biocaps you have now, and see the difference. Be like, well, that's not a natural progression of thing. And then look at your purchase history for how many caps you bought and look at, your activity and kind of go from there. So
Yeah.
there's, I mean, I hate to knock people that've got that much of a hustle, but, just be wary of that because if you can do it, everybody else can do it too.
Yep. No, and that's exactly the discussion we want to have, right? And so let's go to the other idea, which is probably the more viable of the two. So the first one was kind of based on the market stall kind of being the baseline to try and figure out what you're trading. For those kind of trades, we were discussing more about trading item for item. And when you do item for item, there is a restriction, right? Because you don't want to be able to trade anything and everything. However,
Right.
there is the VIP store as well, right? So if we take a look at the VIP store, and I have it open, I obviously don't have VIP 12. I have VIP 8, so I don't have all these things unlocked. But you can kind of see everything here. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of things you have for sale here in the VIP store, right? You have all of the boosts here for the attack. You have the defense boost or the reducers here, right? You have the boosts as well. You have and all this stuff. You can buy those for biocaps as you unlock it. Mm-hmm. Like any store, right? Let's consider this kind of like a consignment store. What they're going to be, what they could potentially do with the trade is kind of like the ideas you guys are talking about, which is, let's say that a legendary frag is worth 5,000 bios, right? That's what it says on the screen right now. I know it says 50% off, but it's always 50% off. So it basically means that it's 5,000, right? So, oh my God.
It's a sale that never ends.
Oh my God.
And it's never begun.
I needed speed ups, right? Because I'm working on like a major cash in. And so I saw in the VIP store, like there's this 3-hour speed up and it's like 1,500 bios and it's like minus 37%. I'm like, okay, I will see if it goes down to a lower percent and then maybe I will buy it if it's like low enough. And it's just freaking 37%, like every single day. I'm like, okay. So I guess that is just their standard price. But let's assume that the base price for the legendary frag is 5,000, right? That is right. How much the game is selling you the legendary frags. But like any store, if they were to acquire the gold frag, right, the legendary frag, they would probably buy it from you probably for about a third of the price, meaning that they might buy a legendary frag from you for 1,500 bios, right? Now, with the legendary frag, it's a little more difficult. Most people will probably keep those for them, right? Because it's a good resource to have. But if we go up a little bit, they have the purple frags. The purple frags are 2,000, right? Per frag. It is 2,000 bios to buy one. So if they make it so that you could sell your general frags, your general purple frags, your epic frags, for 700 bios, you can sell it and then you gain it back. And that gives the opportunity for somebody else to buy it then for the 2,000, right? Is that considered a trade in your
All
view?
right. I mean, that would be something, and you only get paid out on it if somebody buys it.
Mm-hmm.
That'd
Because
be
if you just
interesting.
sell it,
But
it's
then
not a
people are,
trade, right? It's just a sell
yeah,
store, which is different. It's not really
right,
doing the trade. But a trade would literally mean that you're selling it to them and then the consignment store has to sell it first, right? Although technically you could get the money, but it's on hold and all that kind of stuff. So it's yeah, it just you would have to buy it.
right, right. It would just be. I feel like if they did something like that, because I don't know, I'd probably say like 70% of the game, maybe even higher than that. I would say 90% of the people don't use Market Stall unless they're doing it for the event, like buy a certain amount of things out of the Market Stall, for to just kind of check the box. Um, because most people feel like it's really not that good of a deal,
Mm-hmm.
or it like doesn't really add up to anything. Most of the stuff is kind of distributed evenly. I could see if they made it more where like, oh, if you need to heal, it's only this, or if you're building troops, it's only this. But if you're cashing in, and usually when people send out marches, like no one's sending out, you know, marches to just food or just something, because there's heroes that specifically designed to kind of aid you in a different march. So it's usually one of each. So if you're, plus or minus one, you're eventually gonna see that deficit somewhere down the line. You
Yeah.
know, so it's always a bit. It's tough. It's tough. It's a
Mm-hmm.
tough thing. It's a
Yeah.
tough thing.
It is.
I mean, I think it would be cool. I think as an added bonus. I mean, hey, hell, if someone wants to buy it, by all means. But especially when you're at a certain point in the state where it's like, who really needs most of that stuff? So who's really going to kind of go in there and buy it?
So here's the other option now. Let's take it one more step, right? So we talked about this from a consignment standpoint, right? Like a consignment store, just like a regular store standpoint. And I see all of you guys saying like they'll tax the trades and all of that stuff, right?
They will.
Let's go one step further. Let's think of this in a market similar to a used car market, right? So you have whatever you consider the blue book value, right? Typically, the blue book value is going to be kind of the quote unquote MSRP or whatever whenever you buy it from a like store, right? If you go to CarMax or something like that, your used cars will go from there. If you do a private sale, you're typically going to be less than that. But if you do a trade-in with a company in order to do it, you're getting much less than what you could sell it, right? So
Sure.
what if you had the option? So you have these epic frags, right? You can either buy them for 2,000, you can sell them to the store for 700, or they now have the trade stall that allows you to decide what you want to set the price for it within a range between like 700 and 2,000. You can decide how much you want to set. But for that one, now you need the sale. You can sell it for 700 and you're done. Otherwise, you have to try and find a buyer for that, which may not be a useful item, right? Because I think most people are going to be selling stuff that's completely useless. They're going to be selling
Right.
all the extra frags that they have, right? They're going to try to get rid of their ghosts, their Travis, their Sarges, like all that stuff, right? They're going to try to get rid of those, which means more likely than not, they're going to sell it to the store and just get their bios because they're not going to find a buyer for it. But you could try to do it, right? So what if the
Yeah.
trade market is that, where you now have the option where you can try to sell it for some price within that given range? You can't sell something for one and you can't sell it for above the cost, right? Because then that's going to manipulate it. But within that range, you can do it. Yeah, Nagai Vapes, it is kind of similar to WoW's auction house, except it doesn't quite have like the limitations, right? The auction house is basically completely free. But in this, there would be a limitation within like a certain range, but otherwise you'd be able to do it that way. What do you think?
I like that a lot better. I mean, it's just like, hey, yeah, you could do it. I mean, it might be. I wonder if they would put like a purchase limit on it. Where it was just like, you've acquired too many. Like if there were gold frags out there, like the VIP store taps you out. It'll put 10 gold frags in there for 50,000 biocaps, and then you're done until it resets. This way you can't just dump all your biocaps, which I never really understood because I mean, if you really wanted to buy it that way, why wouldn't they just let you buy it? Like so. But it would have to be a limit, or else you could just like stack somebody else's deck.
Yep.
Like someone that's a whale could be like, wow, I've got 847 gold frags, blank gold frags that I can just give someone and boost up my number 2, who's like my rally lead might not be there next week, so let's go ahead and get somebody else stronger in there and build them up. It could be utilized that way. Not that I'm against people getting stronger. That's not. I feel like I have to set that precedent or say that because I feel like I've been very hardcore. Like, yeah, well, you shouldn't be able to help anyone else out, but you have to just be understanding that if it could change the game dramatically. Like, and people that have earned it or played the right way should kind of be able to stay at that level. There should be like no easy catch ups. There should be catch ups for people that are willing to kind of turn around and spend a lot of time in the game. In comparison to the people that have bought it or have just waited for every other event to max out or something along those lines. I mean, but it shouldn't be easy to catch someone. It should be something that you have to chase.
Yeah, no, I agree. And guys, keep in your suggestions. I'm reading all the suggestions you guys are making in the chat too, so we'll start to address that. And Feminist makes a good point. He says a daily limit on how many things you can buy. I would just say an overall trade limit. Per day, you can only do 20 transactions, whether it's 20 sales, 20 purchases, or 10 and 10, whatever it is. Like 20 transactions, you are done. That is it. Something like that, which I think would be able to balance it. You wouldn't be able to make that many trades. The question then becomes, because I saw what Nagai said, Nagai Vipe said, as long as someone didn't find a way to cheat the system. The question becomes, what do you consider cheating? Right? At what point do you consider cheating? Because what this ultimately does, with biocaps in particular, is allows you a way to effectively launder your biocaps. Right?
Yeah.
It effectively gives you a way to launder your biocap. So you can sell something like an epic frag to somebody for 2,000 if the other account has the biocaps, and now you have accumulated 2,000 biocaps. How valuable is that 2,000 biocaps? If you can do it 10 times, let's just take what's on the screen for a second, right? If you can do it 10 times with another account, that is 20,000 biocaps that you could potentially acquire in a trade by getting rid of 10 epic frags. I would take that 100% any day. I don't need my purple frags all that much. I would trade 10 purple frags for 20,000 bios like that. So the question is, does that constitute a gaming of the system? Does it count as cheating the system? Or is that just reasonable? Because that's the price that they set, right? This is the Capital Games price of 2,000 bios for an epic frag. That is how much they are charging. So is it wrong for me to sell it to another account for that same amount and get the bios for it, rather than just giving it to King's Troop? Right? I think I said Capital Games. I'm talking about the wrong company. Sorry, King's Troop. I played another mobile game.
It would have been worse. You could have said Lilith. Could have said Lilith or something like that.
Yeah, my apologies. Not Capital Games, King's Troop. So, is that a issue? Yeah, exactly, Apex. SOS money laundering. That is... So as much as we talk about all the other stuff, right? King's Group's biggest concern should be... we call it money laundering, but it's just any kind of currency laundering, right? That is what happens in trade systems. Ultimately, that is what happens. So, and yes, they do ultimately lose some money with that, but the thing is, I don't think King's Group is really making money on these transactions. There's a lot of things I don't think. So I don't know. You can let me know. How many times have you actually purchased the legendary frag thing in the VIP store, Delete?
Oh, me?
Mm-hmm.
I tend to buy it. I don't know. Probably, I'd say I buy it like 75% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like when I see it, I'll grab it.
Okay.
Whether it's like for the throwdown challenge where it's like spend a certain amount of caps. Because I've done the like, oh, let me just build troops with this, and it's just like, nah, I'm already at like close to 2 million of each troop type. So
Mm-hmm.
like I'm just like, let me just make it so the next time a new hero comes out, I'll just go ahead and be that much further ahead. So this way I won't have to buy Ray's Place or the daily deal,
Isn't Ray's
every
place
day.
better than this rate though?
Uh, Not really, because the conversion rate is so bad.
You get
It
like,
used to be where,
isn't it like 13? You can get like 15 shards or 15 frags, right, from the first two boxes for 13,500 bios.
right? But then that's what you need. Like you need
I know
like
you need a bunch
isn't it like
more, so
800? Yeah, you need like to general somebody. You need like 800.
that's
I
true.
think it's
The
even more than that.
volume is huge, but Ray's place actually gives you like a better rate or like a better conversion on getting the frags per character than the
Oh
general
yeah,
flags do. But
yeah,
I
yeah,
see your
yeah.
point because you just need the volume of it. That okay, I got you.
Because you just need so many. So it's just like in caps, where it's like I don't know. I was putting together. I was just like, wow, like I didn't really spend that much or buy really anything, and through like random odds and ends of playing the game, it was just like, all right, wow, I've got 127,000 caps sitting in my backpack. Just randomly sitting there on top of like whatever you get from just buying like the battle bundles or let's see, I haven't bought Survival of the Fittest in a while, but that's usually what I kind of get most of my speed ups from at this point. It's just so that I can build troops so I can earn permanent skin because it's literally the only thing. And then off an event, I boosted my account up to almost to VIP or not VIP 7 from Plasma 7, and I haven't had to spend a dime in that. So my caps really don't go too many places. It's really for the damage reducing. The two 9,000 VIP stall buffs, which you really
Mm-hmm.
don't get anywhere else but that store. And what else? What else do I use caps for? I guess my VIP to just extend my VIP, but that's I mean, I haven't had to do that in forever. So my caps really don't serve a purpose, for a lot of things.
I'm sorry. I
At this
just
point.
realized something as I'm looking on the screen. Did you ever notice how much the regular price is for those buffs?
Oh, it's crazy.
No, I'm not talking about just the fact that like 50% off is like 9,000. Like it says 50% off is 9,000, right? But the amount regular is 18,063 and 18,233, 18,051, 18,000. I just
See
noticed
that?
what the like they're the only ones with some kind of like odd number. Everything else all like rounded off 800, 1,000, 500. Wait, this one is 513 for the bread. But I
I
just
don't think I've ever
noticed.
noticed that before.
I
That's
just
pretty funny.
now that I'm like stuck on this screen and noticing it, I just looked at it like 18,000 and change, and then it's like 50% off. Here's an even 9,000. Makes your life easier. sorry,
That's
sorry,
crazy.
I got sidetracked.
No, but I will notice that, like, most speed up games, you ever notice that, like, the biocap, like, expenditure for, like, the last 8 seconds is like 6 biocaps or something like astronomically high. For it's like, all right, the whole thing is 300 biocaps, but to do the last like 6 seconds is like 9. It's like what? And so many people are probably just paying that just randomly when it's just like just wait the 30 seconds. So I think that's why everything's oddly priced normally or just a little bit off. Just so they can kind of bang people on that extra like tax, that
Yeah,
extra like not being able to be patient taxed.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that is the way that they do it. So
Smart move.
yeah, it's the same thing they do with the what is it? That other store, the value store, right? So when a hero first comes out, it's like a conversion rate of like 9 tickets to get one, and you can only get
Yeah.
like 10 tickets. But then the older ones, if you just wait a few generations, it's like, here, you can have this one for 3. It's like, okay.
Exactly.
That's basically where I
Is
am now.
this
I'm like,
hero's garbage.
mhm.
Here, you can almost have him for free.
Exactly. I'm like, okay, I need a tanky hero, and I want to try and get him to general. Which one am I gonna do? I'm like, I'm going for Wolf because he's freaking like the cheapest one. He's a patrol and a rally. I'm like, he's perfect. I'm gonna go after Wolf now. Wolf is the one that I'm gonna be after Maddie. He'll be my second. My goal is to make him my second legendary general. But yeah, it's just,
He is actually he's my trap. He's my trap rally lead. I use Wolf, Tweak, and Tyler, and I do an added 1,000,000 damage because I have them over my like strongest heroes, which is crazy. I mean, I don't know how long it's going to be before they change that, but
yeah,
it's kind of like, really? Well, all right.
but
I'll put him in there.
Eric B is raising his hand. I think he's in agreement, but Eric, you can also wait. Are you saying you buy bread, Eric? Eric, are you raising your hand because you're saying you're buying bread? Please don't buy bread. Even me, the one that advocates for the use of bread, would not tell you to buy bread. I do not think 250 bios for 10 bread is a good conversion. Just throwing that out there. Eric is asking you, Eric B saying, yeah, buy bread. Don't buy bread. Don't buy bread. You do get good resources from the Explorer. I'm not going to lie. You get XP on your characters, especially in the newer states. If you have the hero precinct, you can then redistribute. You get all the materials from the Explorer. So it is a good value of what you're getting for the 250. You get desperate sometimes.
That XP is so low. It is so low. To
Every
rank up
week, I can get up all my characters up to like level 30 something every time, and then I reset them, and then I funnel them into a different character. I have four characters currently at level 80, and then one that is currently at 74 that I'm working on right now. So, and that means all my hero precinct right now is 80. My entire hero precinct is 80, and I'm starting to get more in there so I can have more marches. So it works out well, but I know you're always on a warpath, Apex. You're always on a warpath. But Buzzsaw asks, and Aerith asks, Wolf for trap. So we'll stay on that topic. So you use Wolf for trap even now? There's no one.
Yeah. There's no one. There's absolutely no one better for trap than So it's Wolf, Tweak, and Tyler, and I'm doing. It went from like me doing maybe 3.9 million damage with my rally to doing like 5.1 million with my rally, which is just I was like
same joiners and all that.
Yeah, basically, same kind of makeup. It might kind of go up or down, maybe not even 10%, probably around 10% depending on who's joining. But for the most part, it's like, wow, that's why does this make sense? But it does. I think it's Tyler's ability and then Tweak kind of boost it, and I think I can't imagine why Wolf would be. Let's take a look while we have time, and I have the game open.
I'll bring Wolf up also, even though mine's not extremely high, but I'll bring my Wolf up.
So, Wolf military. No, none of that should make any sense.
He weakens defense as part of his middle ability.
Yeah. So I guess it's the weakened defense. His chance to do 200% damage, which I think is almost always hits for trap, and then it's tweaks. Let
me see. I have Tweak, I think, ready to unlock.
Or maybe I think it's just no. I think it's the weakened defense. It's the weakened defense, and it's the fact that Tyler completely just boosts Hunter's damage so much. It's the only thing that I can think of why it would make sense.
Yeah, Aerith is saying, have you tried Nicola?
Yeah, Nicholas, because trap doesn't count as infected, unfortunately. Which is strange because
You're
it's
fighting a big old
kind
giant
of
fatty.
yeah. you
A
know,
big old zombie fatty. So
you're attacking an infected. It's not like you're hitting another human being.
Mhm.
But for whatever reason, it doesn't qualify as infected. I think it's called infected trap, as a matter of fact, but and it doesn't always doesn't work out that way. For a while, who was I using? Getting like an added. You know, we were trying to do for like rally joiners. Jeb was a solid rally joiner lead, and then I was like, I'm trying to get people to kind of like rank up. I believe it's Kang, because like her thing is like everyone does 25% extra damage. So I was like, why shouldn't she just go ahead and do like basically a lot of extra damage?
Mhm.
But no one's ever tried it. No one's really ranked her up. I mean, I've got her a general, but I'm kind of like I don't have a chance to really use her at all.
Oh my god,
But I was like, oh,
Apex of the giant infected in the trap isn't actually a zombie, it's just Rusty in a Halloween costume.
that makes sense.
Awful.
Hence why
That's awful.
no infantry does any damage, because they all know Rusty.
They all pull back. Like, oh god,
Yeah,
that's the
they're
captain
like,
again.
no.
That's the captain
Yeah,
just playing
they
a
can't.
trick on everyone again. Just pull back.
Oh, we're gonna do this joke every other day.
Oh my god. Oh god. And then Bussa had a question. It's a different one. He said, "Why isn't there a sim button for Explorer Trail levels that you've completed so we can burn through the bread energy?" I think it. I don't like the idea of completed. I'm just gonna say that I don't like the idea of completed because some of them are a little bit difficult, right? So if you can complete it once and you get the advantage. What I like actually is Maz's idea. Maz was on the stream. I want to say about 3 months ago, and her idea was that you just do the ones that are walkovers, right? Because you get the different ones where it's like the difficult, you get the close, and then you have just like the walkover. Why not make the ones that are just like green, just like auto win basically, just autoable? So as you get stronger, you know which ones it is that you can auto, and you just straight up auto them. Like that would be easier than just doing the ones that you beat, because what I can see is that the higher level ones you may be able to auto, and really you don't want to be able to do that. I accidentally said Capital Games, so I apologize. But that one in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, they have a similar system where what they do is you don't just beat the level, you have to get like a 3-star on it, meaning that you kind of like perfected it in some ways, right? And that's when you're able to auto it. So they could do something similar to that, where the walkover is kind of that equivalent. Where if it's something so easy that we know you're gonna beat it, here you go. It's just yours. Spend your bread, auto it. Just click on the auto button over and over again, and just get your explorer done. Like that's the way they should do it. So I did like Maz's idea when she came up with that a few months ago.
I mean, that's better. Any option to kind of speed up that process would be great. Maybe if they did a ×5, you know, because it was like, I was like, I mean, I accidentally clicked, you know, ×1 not too long ago, and I was like, I just want to see how long this takes, and it was forever. I mean, it took a legit long time to watch like the monster come inching off the screen, and I was just like, this is extremely annoying.
Yeah. The thing is,
So,
though, it doesn't. So as much as ×3 helps, right? There is still a big chunk of time that's not going to change, because what doesn't change. So what increases is like the march speed of all of the troops. What doesn't change is the time in between each of those small waves, right? So there's
right,
like 3
right,
waves in the Explorer. The time in between really doesn't change, so you're still kind of stuck. And then the other part is that the time in the travel time where your characters are running, they're not running any faster. That
Right.
part is not affected. So you're still waiting for your characters to run to get one box. Then they go run to get the other box. Then they go into the next zone. Like that all takes up a lot of time. While the 3x definitely helps to reduce it, because when you do it 1x, you can it's painful. 3x isn't as bad now, maybe just because I'm used to it, but yeah, I'm not even sure 5x necessarily solves the problem because you still have that slow rest of the match that even each one is still probably going to be roughly about 2 minutes by the time you complete it.
Yeah, I mean, I would accept an auto just for like, if you beat it once, like okay, you can't auto it until you beat it, like you said, until you like perfect it, you
Mhm.
can't auto it,
Right.
and then once you've done that, maybe it's like something where it's like, oh, well, this is what you earn. Maybe it will take like a 20% cut for autoing, or something like that. I would even accept that than doing what I do now, which is only doing it at absolute, like when I'm forced
Yeah.
to earn like the extra arrows or the extra like whatever for the skin event,
Right.
because that's the only reason I play it, because I'll go through and it's like, make sure that I've done enough explorer missions. I've done um, enough things on that list where it says maxed. I mean, you're never going to max out spending caps or using speed ups. Those are the two that are always left over
Mhm.
on that list. But I'll always do the explorer missions just for that, and it's painful. It
Yeah.
is painful. Speaking of which, do you even do the Walking Dead event at all anymore?
Well,
I don't.
it's
I
not
don't. I
there.
don't even. Oh, okay.
The
Just I was about
survival
to say.
challenge ended a long time ago. So now the only thing is going in to do the Oasis guest, which I do. I do go in to do
Okay.
that but yeah, the actual survival challenge of that ended so long ago, which is annoying because the rest of the stuff is all there until October. But the survival
Right.
challenge, it just there's like nothing there, and they removed the
So it was
store
like,
for a while, and now they brought that back. So it's like
yeah,
okay,
I remember that.
yeah.
It
So
was like, yeah, this event ends in 198 days, and I was just like, I can't do this Explorer anymore. I really can't.
I mean, what's
I haven't even done the guests. I'm like,
and we lost delete, but delete will be back. Delete will be back. But yeah, so we will do some of this here in a little bit, but um, it's gonna reset soon. I hope so. I kind of like the survival challenge. I hope that they bring that back. I thought the survival challenge was actually pretty good. Um,
that was weird.
yes, you just like straight up disconnected on us.
Yeah, I thought you booted me.
No, I definitely did not boot you.
That was so strange. Well, thank you for not booting me. I'm
Yes.
sorry for leaving.
But yeah, so
I was in the
I
middle of
actually
talking.
I know you left literally in the middle of the sentence, so I just picked up right where you left off. Just straight up picked up like nothing even happened. It was fine. Everything is fine. Professional streamer right here, delete. I got it
That's how
under
you do it.
control. And then I talk
Yeah,
on mute and sometimes. So yeah, it's just
yeah. Like my boss, a year and a half later of doing like all these Zoom and like Microsoft Teams and all this other stuff, still talking on mute.
mm-hmm.
Still has no idea when he's not on mute.
Yes.
It's
That
pretty
is
great.
just yeah. It's just the way it is. But yeah, so I actually liked the survival challenge. Eric B is saying it's gonna reset soon. I kind of liked
Okay.
it. I had fun doing it. I also had fun with the fact that like a lot of times it was just Chef running through the entire thing after like the second node. That was
That's right.
that was just too much fun. Literally, Chef soloed about like three of the things. I didn't get all the way to the end. I can't remember which one I left off on. It was like five or six or something like that. So I didn't get super deep. But Chef was the freaking MVP for me. Just straight up, he was like the MVP for me. So yeah. So I do hope that they bring that back. Um, but yeah, so we'll see exactly what they do with that. If you guys have any other ideas, we go on tangents all the time because that's what I do. I go on tangents. So, but if you guys have any other ideas for the trade thing, let me know. Because we're just waiting, right? They said mid August is when they're expecting it, so we'll see. Lots of different possibilities. We don't know whether or not it's just going to focus on resources, whether it's going to be able to focus on some of the other items that we need. If so, are they going to add restrictions in order to make sure it doesn't change the dynamic of any particular account? So there's a lot of different things that we just need to make sure that they do correctly. And so this is a good way for everyone to kind of voice their opinion, at least in this area, right? And hopefully someone's listening and they can kind of see some other ideas on how to do it. But I am looking forward to seeing what they do ultimately with the trade system. I think the trade system is going to be pretty neat. Um, the other thing is the technology speed up event is coming soon. So they say technology speed up is coming soon. They said in our update coming in version 1.11.80 next week, we will release a technology speed up feature online. When upgrading the recommended military technologies, players will get a speed up bonus. We hope this feature will help more people grow faster and narrow the strength gap among players. Research is big, right? We learned that a while ago. I learned that from you guys for sure, and can definitely see it in the implementation. Research is kind of important. It can definitely differentiate between some of the accounts, especially if they're big. But what the let me just start there. So Delete, as somebody that I think has maxed out all the regular research and is now on the plasma research, right?
I am maxed out to the max.
So what is your thoughts on them speeding up the research?
I mean, it would suck because it was like, I would hope to get something back because it was just like it was a lot of time, not only just in the amount of taps it took, because it's extensive. I mean, it's a lot of button taps. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like it would basically be, it would run concurrent with the rest of the way that the game has been. The initial people that buy it up front pay the premium. Then the people that wait pay that much less. And then the people that wait even longer pay even less.
Mm-hmm.
So I could understand it, but I'm like, I mean, it's getting to the point now where it's almost better to just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait. I'm not even gonna kind of try because I know it's gonna be cheaper in about a month. Sort of like Black Widow. I refuse to go ahead and spend the $30 on Disney Plus for premiere access.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather just wait.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though it's like, I've heard the rationale. Well, if you take your kids and your wife to the movies, you buy popcorn and a Coke, you're more than $30. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not it. Like, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's why. So,
And one thing they're saying in chat, and that's the way I believe too, is that it should not impact the Plasma Institute. It sounds like this is just for the research lab, right? And to me, I think this is actually like a good thing, because what happens with a lot of these games, especially as they get older, right? If you get a new player and you're trying to get maybe a new player into an older state because you want them to be able to play with their friends or whatever else, right? Um, the problem is the amount that it takes in order for them to catch up, right? The latest feature is typically kept at the regular price, but a lot of games, and this is why I like this, find a way to make the earlier content a little bit easier to get through, right? All the stuff that normally takes, let's say, 5 months in order to get, they find a way to make it 3 months, because it lets the players that are now coming in kind of new feel like they're able to make up some ground. They're catching up a little bit more than where the player was. But the main crux of everything is now the Plasma Institute, right? That's where your march size increases. That's where your troops get the additional stats. That's what T11 is. Like, that is the ultimate research right now. So the research lab getting sped up in a way, I think, is actually healthy for the game, but they need to distribute it in a way that helps, I think, all of the older states, right? The Plasma Institute states. And that's why I'm saying it that way. because if you implement it in a younger state, right, that they just have faster research, they are now going to be increasing at a rate that's trying to keep up with a state that has the Plasma Institute. And that's my only concern, is that it sounds like this is across the board. And we have already seen some issues with like matchups with like older states and newer states having different features and all these kind of things, right? The fact that now a younger state is going to be able to have the faster research is going to throw a lot of things off, right? You have the clear distinction of Plasma Institute, non-Plasma Institute states. That could have been an easy differentiating factor for things like, say, the survival of the fittest blood sport. It could be a differentiator for a reservoir raid, right? Because the Plasma Institute is there. So it's just my thought is that it makes it easier to keep it separated that way. So, yeah. So, yeah. Eric B is saying breaking it down changes the mentality of players wanting to do research. I do agree that. I think that it does make players a little more interested in research because it doesn't feel as long. I think they just have to be careful on it. And yeah, Apex catch-up mechanics are always wonky, and like Eric is saying, it narrows the gap, but it should narrow the gap within a state. It should not necessarily narrow the gap of just in general. Between states, it shouldn't. It should be intrastate, not interstate, in terms of what it is modifying. So that's my only kind of comment on that. I think overall the research thing is good. Now, a few of you made this point, so I do want to make sure I give this point to everyone. They, I believe, have said, and I'm trying to find exactly where it was, but the update is going live on Monday. Okay, it's expected to go live on Monday. When it goes live, they plan on completing whatever research you have active. Whatever research you currently have active on Monday as a result of this patch is expected to be completed, because they have to effectively like empty the research lab, right? So that you get all the
Right.
new times and everything set up.
Be a
That
good time to
means-
start a really long one.
Exactly. So what that means, start a long research prior to Monday. Start whatever longest research you have available. So I'm going to look on mine right now, right? I have like 3 days, I think, left up on one of mine, but I'll probably speed it up a little bit here just so I can start that research. But let's see. I'm trying to see what, so Power Sprint is on right now too.
Yeah.
So I can get some points here. That's good. I'll get some points for it. So what you're looking for... Oh, it's on the 20th, which is Tuesday. Okay. But even then, try to set it on Monday, because you never know if they're going to change the time. Get your long research in soon, because chances are it's going to be like a few weeks anyways. But if we take a look, right, it's 3 days for me. I'll probably speed it up a little bit later. But I'm going to go into, I think, development is where I have my longest pending research over here. This one is 16 days. Oh, I didn't mean to close that out. Yeah, start on Monday before the refresh. Correct. I'm trying to see what my longest one is. I have a 16-day. This one is 9-day. I don't want to do that one. Let me check my battle. My battle is not nearly as developed. I like focused on development first. So let me see what I have over here. I don't think I can go much further. This one is just a 10-day. So it's probably that 16-day one, I'm imagining. Yeah, some of these I already did research on and stuff. So yeah, it's probably 16-day. So find your longest research. Get that in. What is this one? 3-day. Yeah. 16 days is what I'm looking at. So find whatever your longest research is, and make sure you start that on Monday so that you get the thing. But the other thing that I noticed too is that currently it is Power Sprint. So you can potentially use your speed ups in order to get some benefit out of it if you want to start it a little bit earlier, which I may. I may do it just to get the Power Sprint points, maybe get some additional plasma, and then, you know, get that. Because it's what? It's 1 point. How much is 36,000 in hours? I have to see. I don't know if I'll be able to get the plasma. So I only have 3 days. I feel like I would need more. So if I have like 3 days, right, and that's 24 hours and 60 minutes, that is 4,320. So 3 days of research should only give me about 4,300 points, which is not a lot. Damn, Power Sprint is not forgiving. That gets me like one thing. Power
No,
Sprint is not
especially for an
forgiving.
event, especially for an event that runs like every other day.
Yeah, this is not forgiving with speed ups. Oh my god, this is awful. This is awful. Freaking yeah, no, thank you. So I'll just wait until Monday because it's not worth it for Power Sprint. I'll only get more res. I don't need more resources. It's just more resources. Just
I
straight
feel
up.
your
Okay.
pain, buddy.
Yeah.
I feel your pain.
But yeah, so on Monday, make sure you guys start a long research so that when you update it, you will get the latest version, and that'll complete your pending research. So yeah, so there you go.
That's big. That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, some of those are like, I mean, some of those are intense.
Mm-hmm. It
You know, I
is.
mean, you could just knock that off. I mean, talking about saving like $60.
I know. I maxed out
It's
like
like
all
what?
my like development and my hospitals first, right? But the end of those, some of those were like 21, 22 days, even with the
Oh yeah,
20% boost on and all that. Like it was long. So
yeah.
yeah, no, it
Especially for
is
the
a nice benefit.
especially for like the first half when I was just like, oh, I forgot to reset my damn talents.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and we're back. sorry,
Sweet.
sorry about that, guys. That is a mess up on my program for some reason. It kind of just like froze up on me with trying to. I don't know what just happened. It literally froze up.
Probably because
I did not.
we're just blasting up too much awesome.
I know. Just
I
too
think
much
we're just
awesome.
dropping too much knowledge.
We were having too much fun. I did not lose my Zoom connection with delete the entire time. So it was not a connection issue. It was definitely something else. But there we go. We're back. We're back. um, but yeah, so it is actually kind of neat that they're doing that. So I am happy with the research update. Again, only concern not to introduce it into everything else. And then they have the first batch of states will enter the YITH, the YIT season, on July 19. And on July 19, a group of states, estimated state range, state 1 to 306, so delete, you should be one of them, will be the first to enter the brand new world event, Rise of Yith. We made improvements to the old features and gameplay in Migo season and introduced new story plots. We hope you will have fun in your adventures in Yith. So there you go. So yeah.
Interesting.
Aerith saying all we heard was delete. My damn talents. That's always the best part. Is just wherever the stream just kind of leaves off and just leaves you. That's always like the best part because you never know. You never know what exactly is happening. It just makes it all the better. It just does. So those were the updates. Now I'm gonna go back because Delete joined when we were talking about the trading system. We missed the first one with you, Delete. So the first update was about state mergers, and they said we shared the time of state mergers before, and that is that we will be starting testing online in October. The merge feature is mainly to help the older states, estimated state range of 1 to 200, become more active. 12 old states will be involved in our first online test. So I had my thoughts on it. My thought was, and then I'll let you comment just so you can hear what I was saying, but my thought was that I am fine with this. I would rather them get this right. However, this is a problem that has been around at least for 8 months, basically since I started playing. Since I have been on the stream, you guys have mentioned this. So this has been a long time problem. It's been a long time of something that we've been waiting for. It is also something a long time that they have acknowledged is a problem and they're working on, right? So to now in July, say it's going to be in October. That gives them the rest of July, August, September, and almost the full amount of October because they didn't say when in October it was going to be. So they have anywhere between 3 or 4 months to complete it. To me, I am fine with that. As long as they get it right, it is okay. What I don't want to see is that this is like a carrot on a stick where they're dangling out October in front of us, and come the beginning of October, they're like, oh, we need to push it out until November, or we need to pull it out until December because there are issues.
Sort of like with what they just did, because it was supposed to come out in July.
But now they said October, and I'm just thinking, okay, you said there's going to be online testing in October. You have no more leeway to move. You have to start testing in October because the older players have been waiting. They have lost friends and other alliance mates because they have been bored out of their mind because they're in states that are not competitive, or they're competitive in the way that doesn't help them grow or their alliance grow, so they're just frustrated and quit. There's just not enough activity. Whatever it is, the game needs to have the merger sooner rather than later. They also need to make sure it is correct. So I personally am willing to say, okay, if it takes until October to get it right, release it in October, but it better be in October. I don't think they can push this anymore. They have to start the testing with those 12 states in October, or there is going to be a whole lot of angry, older, high spending players. So that
That
was my
puts
thought. I'll leave it to you now.
so like October puts me at the 600-day played range, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the game was kind of built to last about 250 days. You know, maybe a little bit longer than that. You know, because I feel like that's when things just completely started to go, you know, and really drop down. You know, because it was just like too many people had just either progressed or started new accounts or just stopped playing the game, uninstalled, whatever the case may be. I feel like that's where the tail off started to kind of come through, because it was just, you know, I think that was past the, you know, all right, we're at Plasma 3 and people are still at 30 and no one's stronger. And then it was just like, oh, great. Now we're at Plasma 5 and people are at Plasma 2 and, you know, still not kind of wanting to like go through anything. And then the thing that's just unnerving is the fact that it's like you've waited this long to go ahead and just say it's a merge, you know? So like how much development could really go into that? You know, like at this point, what are they? I guess there's a little bit like, all right, so what are we going to make it? You know, where it's like all these alliances just show up into a new state, or are we going to keep the same number, or are we going to, you know, transition into, you know, like a new game state, you know, where we have the hero precinct, or we have the different facilities that are in 359. You know, like, is that what they're going to spring on us, you know, at this point? You know, because it's like, I don't understand on the development standpoint what would be the toughest thing for them to figure out. I really don't. You know, that's the toughest thing. And I guess like, oh, what are we gonna do? We move the dead bases too, or do we let people come back? You know, like game people that haven't been on the game for 287 days straight. Are we gonna move them to a new state too? Or are they trying to figure that out? You know, because I guess what does happen to those people? You know, I mean, what if someone's just like, you know what? Oh, wow, I just saw that game on commercial, or my friend just started this game. Let me show him my base. Re-downloads it, goes back in, and he's like, oh, there's literally no one in my state anymore. Mm-hmm. You know, I guess those are probably the toughest things to answer, but I feel like those are quick questions. You know, like, oh, we just go ahead and give him a base, you know, of equivalent level in a new state. You know, because he's kind of starting all over anyway. He hasn't lost anything, hasn't been taken away, you know, so, or her for that matter. So it's just weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird.
It is. And
I mean,
I'm curious what they're going to
I'm in complete agreement.
with.
I'm in complete agreement that it's like, if you're going to do it right. I'm also very scared because there's a lot of things that they're like thinking of or they're doing that if they mess up, you know, kind of like changes everything, you know?
Yeah. No, it's really important that they get this right. And by right, I don't mean that they need to appease 100% of the players, right?
Yeah, it's
That's
impossible.
it's impossible, right? We've even on the stream itself had so many different ideas about how you could do a state merger, right? But ultimately, I think we're all in agreement. Any one of the ideas we have come up with, we would be happy with than having nothing, right? Because each one has a positive and a negative. We weigh the positives and negatives differently, but all of them have an upside of that. Yeah, it makes the state more active, right? Regardless of what the process is, they find a way to be in a more active state with their account. So I think that is what they need to ultimately do. Make sure that whoever they're doing with the testing is giving honest, true feedback about positives and negatives and truly provides what you need in order to evaluate your process. And I would say, even before, I really hope you have players involved in this. Even before October. Before you launch it into the States, you better have some feedback coming in from players about what is the good and bad about the process that you decided. I think I'm trying to remember who it was. It might have been McVenom or Daedric or someone saying that they were talking to other developers, right? From other games in order to make sure that they have some ideas about what were the pitfalls that they saw, what were the things they
Yeah.
need to be concerned about, which is all smart. Like, why try to recreate the wheel when somebody's already done it, right? Just find a way to take that wheel, maybe put a couple baseball cards on a spoke to make it sound all fancy, and then let it go, right? So that's what they should be doing. And so
Yeah,
hopefully
I
they do
mean,
that.
it's not, SOS as it's still a kingdom builder, real time strategy game. And they are all just so interchangeable. They have minor tweaks, but then you see like certain things are, put the same way. They're bought the same way. They're sold the same way. They're kind of like, wow, well, this isn't really that original of an idea. So the fact that they haven't, like kind of found a scripted playbook, from somebody else that's successful is kind of crazy. It should, I mean, it's like they should kind of completely do. I'm playing this game called Warpath right now, and I'm like barely into it, but I'm just like, whatever. Um, just looking for something new,
Mm-hmm.
really, because there's not much for me to do besides general upkeep on my base, which is kind of running dailies and sending out my farms, doing my like intel, making sure that like whatever, that I'm on for throwdown and showdown and getting ready for res raid. A lot of the interstate squabbles, I really are just state so toxic. I try not to get involved in, but it's just that they should just have a complete roadmap of everything they're doing based off of other games.
Yeah.
They really should.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't think there's really much else to say. They just need to make sure they do this right. I think that's
Yeah, agreed.
ultimately what they do. Now, here's the thing. I'm kind of curious though. They said this is for the older states of states 1 to 200, right? My question, while those states will be eligible for some kind of merger, is there going to be an opportunity for people like you, for people like Furry who has stopped but maybe may come back, if there's a way to get you guys into 359? I don't know. I don't know if there's a way to get you guys in 359. They may restrict it just to keep you guys in that top 200 or the oldest 200 states, right? Just for balance. And I'm not opposed to that. Just to make it clear, I'm not opposed to them doing it that way, because at some point you have to do a cutoff, right? But
Yeah,
it would be neat if there's a way to get you, like you two and whoever else from like the older states. I think you two are the main ones in 359 that were in the RSG Guild alliance to actually like to play, but I don't know. Buzzsaw was here. I know Buzzsaw made an account in the RSG Alliance, but then he had invested a lot of time in his main alliance, so I don't know if he would be able to. I don't think he was in state. I think he was in after 200, so I don't think he would be
oh,
eligible
that would
anyway.
be that would be awesome
Mm-hmm.
to drop my base into 359. That would be
Mm-hmm.
epic. Um, in so many ways. It would just be it would just it reinvigorate my kind of like passion for the game, without question, which frankly is lacking, because it's a lot of rinse and repeat, even like like the Migo stuff is like it was just too much. It was like overbearingly too much. It was like, okay, it's underground tasks. And while you're doing underground tasks, you're going to go ahead and do digs. And then while you're doing digs, you're going to go ahead and do something else. And it was just like on top of the regular gameplay that you already had that really didn't change, So it was just something just thrown it heavily on top of everything. And it was just like, what? So it just didn't make that much sense. Even like the underground exploration, like this time around, was just like, oh, I was like, I found myself for the first time not using all my stamina. Like just like this is boring. This is literally just tapping.
Yeah.
Like this isn't enough. It just there's no it doesn't even make sense. Certain things or like certain monsters were a bit powerful. You could break certain things. You were getting you could maximize your potential with like getting the research files and then going into things. But it was like, oh, infantry. All right, well, everything was blue or it was purple. What was better? What was not? It just didn't make that much of sense. It was too ramshackle and it was too much of a time investment on top of all the things that they were asking you to do to kind of really make it worthwhile. And the levels, you would wake up and just be down like 3 levels. And it was like, what? How is this going that fast? So
Yeah.
it was just a lot. It was just a lot. But yeah, I mean, I would love to be like reinvigorated in the game to the point where it's just like I've got not necessarily a new challenge, but a new group of people.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. I would love, I would love to bring my entire alliance up law to 359 because there's a lot of really good people. I love gaming with everyone in law, but
Yeah.
when it comes down to it, there's just the way things are in my state. It's just toxic,
Yeah.
nonstop.
No, I
It's
know.
just like, ugh, awful.
I'll mention something else too, because you mentioned something kind of interesting, which I think is a double-edged sword, and it's a true point. This game is a kingdom builder. There are a lot of kingdom builders out there. Most of them are pretty much the same with just a little tweak here and there, right? And that serves as a double-edged sword. In the way that we're talking about right now with like state mergers, that just means you don't have to redefine the wheel. Somebody's already done it. The games are very similar, which means you should have the path kind of in front of you, right? The other aspect of it is that right now, all the games are so similar, which means that what is keeping players together is the other player. It is not necessarily the game itself. When it gets to the point that a group of players decide that this game is not for them anymore, that the game does not have what they need, the game is basically just boring for them, right? If the players want to stick together, they will leave this game and go to a different game. That is the important thing to remember. What the current situation is that the players are individually periodically just getting bored, but a lot of groups are staying together with their collective friends. The alliances are in some ways sticking together. It may not be the full 100, but there's probably like a solid 30, 40, even maybe 50 in any given alliance that's still very solidly together, and that's willing to keep them playing because they like playing with that other group. Kind of like Delete saying, there's other people in law that he enjoys playing with, right? And that's why he's playing, but he's been outspoken about wanting a merger and getting things fixed. So the longer they delay on this, right, that's when a group sentiment kicks in and the players collectively decide, yeah, we can find another game. We've seen other kingdom builders games. Oh, there's a new kingdom builder here. Let's just all go and play that. And then you abandon in mass this game. Right now, you're just like individually kind of picking off one player at a time that's getting bored and leaving. So the risk to them of not getting this done in October, now that they put this out there, is that collective exodus, right? Of losing those mass amounts of players. Because I don't know how much longer they can string you guys along. They've been doing it already. Now they said July kind of tentatively before, so I'm willing to give them a little bit of a pass on that. They're saying October now. That is when we are testing. We're going to be testing 12 states. It looks like they have a plan in place. They have to stick by it, right? Or they are facing a lot of additional backlash in the way of, I think, just people just of leaving. The older states just slowly getting more and more abandoned. Because I mean, honestly, Delete, what would you do if they did not complete this in October and they said, oh, it's going to be in 2022, so you have to wait until January? I mean,
I would probably,
would
I
you
would
still play?
probably,
Would you consider quitting?
God, I would probably be closer to quitting than anything else. You know, I would probably be like, hey, this, it's like not worth the investment anymore because they're just not into keeping people in older states around. And making a new base in a new state really just kind of like, why am I going to do this again when I know what the future holds? I know what day 600 looks in this game. I know exactly how it looks, and it's just like I'm playing. I'm playing in Reservoir Raid. I'm playing either states that really aren't evenly matched. Or in Showdown, I'm playing states that are so much newer that have so much more activity, or something along those lines, or in Throwdown for that matter. There's so many things that just don't add up, that consistently happen in the game. The fact that like rewards haven't changed in 520 days, at all. It just shows that like there's just a level of consistency that this company is not willing to provide, to states that get old. And it's just like, wow, you know, that's, it's unfortunately, it's a cautionary tale. And not saying that you should go ahead and quit the game tomorrow or anything, because I have enjoyed my time, like, and my buddy asked me, he's like, dude.
There we go. We are back. Sorry about that, guys. I think there is there's some kind of update or something. Really? Don't be doing this right now. It just started it again.
Oh.
Why is it doing this? I am fine in my connection. Durgan, the ghost of McVenom is... Really, Durgan? The ghost of McVenom is messing up. It is not. It's something with OBS. I have to double check what it is. It's probably a Windows update. This typically happens when there's a Windows update. Like a Windows update or an OBS update is typically when this happens. So I'm guessing that is it. But we should be good now. I'm double checking. I don't want this interest story. There we go. Yeah, we're solid again. Sorry, delete. Continue. You're talking about if you had the opportunity to get all your money back, would you still spend it on this game?
Right. I think the biggest thing is I probably would. I probably would. I enjoyed a lot of the battles that I had. I still enjoy my base now, but it's just like, come on. I'm waiting for the game to kind of go ahead and like return a little bit of the gratitude for being here this long into something that's like, okay, this is cool. This is cool. All right. They're trying, but I mean, unfortunately, it just hasn't happened. So
yeah,
I will say that any money that you put into a mobile game, right, or just about any game, if you are spending money to get something out of it past what you get in the game, then you shouldn't be spending that money. You really should, because it doesn't really add up to just about anything when you look back on it. But when you're doing it, if you're enjoying it, that's a different story. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the biggest part, because if you look back on anything and you're like, man, I probably shouldn't have spent, whatever I did. No, you can't do that. You should just, if you're going to potentially look back on it, then you shouldn't spend it all.
Yep. Yeah, especially with something virtual, right? So I'll just mention, like, it's a different game entirely, but I'm doing it tomorrow. You've heard of Magic the Gathering, Delete? The trading card game. So
yeah,
I play that, and actually tomorrow I'm going to going to a tournament for it, right?
Oh wow!
But I get the cards because I enjoy playing. It's not really an investment. There's monetary value to this, right? And I can trade them and I can try and do stuff with it. But ultimately, I am doing Magic the Gathering because I enjoy playing the game, and that's what I do. And I'm not really trying to look at this as an investment vehicle. If you're looking at this, especially now, like if you did it maybe when it first came out, maybe at the current time, Magic the Gathering by itself is not a great investment vehicle. Some of the prices may go up, but it's a huge risk, right? But the main difference between something like this, Magic the Gathering, versus State of Survival, is the physical kind of tangible thing,
You
right?
own something. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and basically that's what you're talking about. You're not expecting anything back in State of Survival because it is a virtual, basically a valueless commodity that you are purchasing. Because in actuality, and while I know it still may go on, technically that you do not have the ability to sell your account, right? The other one is a trading card game, so that is kind of what the whole thing is based on. But this you cannot actually legitimately actually sell. So if you're going in thinking that this is an investment, that you're spending all this money to somehow make back something other than just enjoyment from it, then you're doing this wrong. You're doing games wrong in general. Games in general, you
Yeah.
spend money in order to gain enjoyment. Like that's the whole premise of it. So you're exactly right. So the question then becomes, in hindsight, to what you were talking about, did you spend and gain the happiness that you were hoping for, the joy that you were hoping for from spending the money, right? And in a time of frustration like this, it's hard to be truly objective because you're just at the point where it's like, well, I'm not really enjoying the game right now. So I don't know if I would want to spend the money. But you look back and you're like, oh, I had fun when we won Capital this one time, or we won this bunker or facility. Like those are the things when you think
Right.
back on, maybe help you. So it does become interesting to think, and that's why I think this October timeframe becomes very critical for them now, because they are running out of any kind of goodwill that has been held in order to keep players still invested in this game to the point where they don't regret and don't feel that pot stuck kind of mentality where, oh, I've already spent this much, so I can't quit the game. That's going to wear thin very soon because those players have already stopped spending, which means on a per day basis, the amount that they spent per day on this game goes down because they're not adding anymore. They're only adding time. So that means slowly they realize, oh, well, I spent zero amount in the last 3 weeks. I guess I don't have to play this game anymore. Or I've spent zero amount in the last 2 months, or I've spent only $100 and it's not a big deal, and I don't think I really need this game anymore. So they have to be extremely careful with this October. I think they should be giving periodic updates, which I do like the developer feedback. I'll give them credit. They have,
which is huge.
It is. Love the developer feedback. I think it is one of the best things they have done so far. As minimal as it is, it's like 4 lines. It is 4 sentences, right? But look at the conversation we've had. Even granted the fact that I was talking to myself for about like 45 minutes, we still had like a 2-hour discussion about the developer feedback.
What do you think about that? I think it's great. Me too.
You're not too far off. You're not too far. So I think they're doing a good job with that. They need to continue with periodic updates, letting us know. I think the trading system is a good thing to also add in there because that's another long time requested thing. So, I mean, overall, while we're all eagerly awaiting, I think the developer feedback, I think they're doing a pretty good job. I mean, overall, I would give them a pretty good job about how they are trying to at least get the information out. Now, obviously, execution is separate, so this is just kind of doing it from a PR perspective that I'm looking at it, but I think they're doing a pretty good job. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, listen, a lot of the companies really don't make the massive changes to their game until they're in the top 25 in the App Store. And this game has climbed pretty much all the way up. It's been up there. It's been in the top 10 for a while. So I mean that's a huge deal. So like they've got to have an influx of capital in order to kind of get the developers or the people that can work on the game to be, at that level to kind of produce in it, because they've got to handle that many more players at the same time.
Yeah.
Like the technology, the people that program for them, everything's kind of going on extremely quickly. Not to mention there's, God, what are we getting? An update every 2 weeks at this point?
Yeah.
You know, and that's sometimes it's even more frequent than with that than with patches and stuff like that. So, you know, you can see it, and it's just but unfortunately, it's like, and it shouldn't be unfortunate. It's like we started this game when it was in its infancy, you know, so we've seen the tremendous amount of, or we've seen the tremendous amount of growth. And we've seen also, we've had to deal with like the painstaking, you know, like growing pains because we were there, you know, because of the things, the missteps they've had, and we've also celebrated their, you know, the good things they've done. But, you know, I think they're doing okay, you know, because there's a lot of other games out there that just wouldn't care. I just wouldn't care.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I still think the customer service in this game really stinks, but I haven't had an issue. But that's like a consistent thing. Is just like, hey, I didn't get this, and they're like, sorry, that's not a question we can answer right now. Did I answer your questions to 100%? It's like,
please
what?
rate us 5.
Yeah, and it's just like, what the hell is going on here? You know, it's like, it's bizarro, but it is what it is.
Yeah. The other thing we mentioned, or I should say other thing I was talking about before you joined, was the skin event. And to me, that was a major letdown. I only had access to 2 skins, which was like the Becca one and then like the Motherly Love one, right? And you know which one I was hoping for. I was hoping to get back Tofu. I kind of wanted Tofu back. And I didn't even have that option. I found the skin event to be overall very disappointing. And yeah, I just found that, yeah, I just found it very yeah, I just found that disappointing.
Yeah, I didn't like the skin. I didn't like the concept of it. You know, it just didn't, I don't know. It was just like, hey man, this doesn't make that much sense. I get it. You want to give people skins, but then it's like non-permanent, and it's, you know, it's an investment for non-permanent. I was like, that's not that great.
Yeah.
You know, and also, what do you think about the casino? Did you have the one-armed bandit event?
Yeah.
Oh, I found it annoying. It took so long to spin. I'm like, can you just spin 5 at a time?
I'm a Vegas kind of person, so I kind of did enjoy it. Well, that's exactly what you do in the casino. That's literally what you do in the casino. I know.
I played cards in the casino.
Yeah, so when I used to go with my family, my mom would always just do the casino. And she would literally just, and it used to be the change, right? Now they just do everything with card, and you don't even pull the handle. Yeah. You push a button. But, like, you still can push the handle, by the way. You can pull the handle if you really want to. But that's all my mom did. And I've been there where I just sat, and literally it's just chink, chink, chink. It's just like, you get enamored by the light. Like, that's what they do, right? That's what Vegas does. Vegas's whole thing is the lights, the noises. That's what they do to encapsulate you and just like mesmerize you, even though it's slow. That's what grabs the attention of the people on the slot machine. And so I thought it was actually really neat, just because I am a fan of like the casinos and stuff, just in general. I thought it was a really neat way that they did it. I like the fact that there were chances. The jackpot thing was a little odd to me, where it was like you get a split of whatever like most of them is just like, oh, you play the machine, and when it hits the jackpot, you get whatever is there, and then it like resets to an amount, and then it does.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, is this like a progressive kind of thing? Like the stage playing, and like I was like, okay, you know, I was like, all right, but then it was just like, oh, some people are only winning like 12,000, some people are winning like 56,000. I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
This doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, the distribution thing was a little weird, but overall, I actually liked the concept of that. I just wasn't a fan of what the rewards were, and like honestly didn't feel like putting in a lot of effort into it because it didn't really have what I was looking for. So I just wanted tofu.
You know,
all I wanted was tofu.
Yeah.
I miss that little guy.
I think the most fun about slot machines is picking which one to sit at. It's like, oh, that guy looks like a loser. Let me wait until he gets up, and then it's going to hit for me.
Yeah, that's exactly what you do. You find the one where somebody has been losing so much that they give up. You don't ever go to a machine that somebody just hit a jackpot, You go to the ones where you see the person has lost in a streak. So you go
Seriously.
to another machine and slow play it at about a quarter of the speed of the other machine, and you watch. You slowly watch. You
And
just
you
take
wait
your
for the
time.
drink.
You grab a drink. Exactly. You grab a drink. You chill. You wait until somebody gets up from a losing machine, and then immediately dart over and you play that machine. But you have to find the type of machine you want too. So you pick like the game you want, right? Whichever one calls to you. Then you have to find the
That's
lose.
it.
Like it is. It's a whole big thing to
It's a
try and find
science
the
to
right
it. Yeah.
machine.
And it's just like, oh. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just like, I remember going to Vegas and being like, my buddy was a big video poker guy. And he would
Mm-hmm.
see like, oh yeah, the royal flush. No one's the royal flush. Look how high the progressive is. And he'd like, I've seen it as high as 20 million, and it's only at 3. It's not really that high yet, you know. And I'm like, what? I was like, he's like, yeah, dude, it gets up there. He's like, once it's at like, once it's at like 20 million, there's a line of people to kind of get onto the machine. And I'm like, wow. He's like, always go for the royal flush when it's that high. You know, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, dude, what am I gonna throw this out? And he's like, yeah, dude. He's like, you only want to win $300. I was like, you never know when it's gonna hit. I was just like, wow, just taking a completely different stance on it.
I mean, the other
But
thing too is when the jackpot gets that high, if you get that with the royal flush, what are the I can't remember exactly what the chances are, but the chance of getting a royal flush is somewhere in like 1 in like 50,000 or something like that. But if the jackpot is
yeah,
over like 2 million, you're making up that money. If you make the 50,000 attempts, you can make up the money to get that 2 million, which is the way
exactly.
that they go. They go
Yeah,
the route of, yeah, it's worth it if I can hit it. Now, granted, it doesn't really happen that way, but still, it's just yeah.
yeah. But it's basically it's just the kind of way. Eventually, if the progressive's that high, it's not a matter of if, it's when.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah, losing
and I think
machines
I
always
think
do well.
I think slot machines are the only things that have to be like they have to pay out a certain amount per hour. It's the only machine that actually does that. Where it's like, hey, these machines aren't, they're not taking out jackpots enough. You've got to go ahead and figure something out, or get rid of the machines or whatever, because the payout has to be a certain amount per hour or else you can't have the machine.
No.
So it's the only thing that structured that.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go through the chat. I didn't say hi to you. I saw the question. Hello, Liquid Snake. Glad to have you here. Liquid Snake had a question. Said, I know this is off topic, but I always wondered what's the craziest bunker fight story you guys ever had. Mine is fairly simple. I'll let Delete give the second one because Delete is going to be kind of the top one because he's usually leading the rallies. So I know he probably has a better story. Apex is in chat, so he can probably remember this one. I want to say it was about what was it? 3 months ago, maybe. It was us. It was ITA, an Italian guild, if I remember, and I think it was Mad. So 3 alliances, and we were all fighting for the bunker. And I think Apex may have been the strongest, but everyone was kind of able to knock the other one out. Like no one was really able to stay in there. Some were using double rallies and all that kind of stuff. But Apex, so we ran out like the 2 hours. Like it was at the point where it was like the 2 hour limit on the bunker. So whoever owned it at the very end is gonna hold it. Apex freaking timed his last rally because we dropped the bunker with about I want to say about like 20 minutes left, right? Because you have to hold it for 30 minutes in order to grab it. So we had time in order to hold that. Yep. Apex saying, oh my god, that was the best. So Apex managed to get like a perfectly timed rally. It literally hit like milliseconds before that 2 minute timer hit. But the other thing was the other alliances were super close too. So Apex had his rally going. We had ITA with their rally. We had Mad with their rally. They're all hitting at the exact same time as what it looks like, but just milliseconds difference. So we're watching as the timer is just running out, and then all of a sudden, it announces who has the bunker, and there is Apex name for the RSG Alliance, and we're all just losing it because it was just like it was the craziest ending to a bunker with 3. So yeah, so all the marches were going together. I'm hoping that the connection is stable. It's restarting it right now. Let's see. Come on. Load up. Load up. What is it doing? Come on. Why is it doing this? I have an idea. Maybe something I can do. Okay, I think it's stable now. But there we go. So that was the I'm gonna run this here. If I run this, I think it'll keep the connection stable. But yeah, so that was my like most memorable bunker because it was crazy. Apex is saying I did all of that during my half-year sales meeting, and my boss yelled at me for it after. that is dedication, Apex. That is dedication to do that during a meeting and everything, and you timed that freaking crazy. You did that freaking. That was impressive.
While you've got other stuff going on, that is impressive.
Yeah. Move out of the basement. I am not in a basement, sir. We are in a bunker. No, it's my computer is getting an update, so that's why it's doing that. So it's like all becoming funky. So hopefully it'll be better just for a little while longer. We're getting towards the end of the stream here, but I will let me go check one thing while we're doing that. But Delete, you go ahead and tell what your most memorable bunker fight is.
So it would actually have to be like the newer version of bunkers and facilities. It would have to be not even that long ago. You know, it was against Rod, which is the alliance that is full of some of the worst people on Earth, period, which is saying a lot. And I'm not being too harsh with that. They're honestly some of the worst people in the world. So it was, we had our top 3 alliances in the state going after. So it was Rod, Triple X, and Law. Triple X was literally only there to help us out, which was pretty cool. We actually are like, basically we team up against Rod all the time because they feel exactly the same way I do, which is great. And then it was just a 2-hour battle. You know, it wasn't nonstop attacking. It was, okay, let me see where this person's at, you know, stat-wise. You know, go ahead and plug a hit in there, get the report. You know, go ahead and figure out your marches, all right? You know, are we going to take this hit? You were hitting bases
or still just bunker?
Still just bunker. Actually, this was a facility.
Okay.
And we were just kind of basically like, all right, let's double hit them, but then not take the double hit back kind of thing. So they would just go in for, everything goes for 2 hours now, you know, in 125. The battles are just forever long. And it's funny that now that everything's 2 hours again, it's going back to whoever has the strongest base wins, you know, where the reason why, you know, like it takes, you know, you have to double rally everyone is because everyone's doing like the defense heroes to get the stats up and so on and so forth. You know, it's funny that they're just right back to where the strongest base wins and the stats matter. So there was a situation where I got a phone call. It comes down to the last, you know, 5 minutes and 17 seconds. My march time was 17 seconds, so I needed to launch at 5:17. I got a phone call right before it, so I missed it. I missed my like sweet spot time. So now we've got to do a 1 minute rally, right? 1 minute rally is like if you've got a well-oiled machine and everyone's on and everyone's figured it out, it's great, you know, but it's a pressure pack moment because it's only a minute and sometimes we're just spaced further apart than we need to. Some people need to rush in, whatever the case may be. Someone might miss it. Someone joins the wrong rally. You know, typically it's like whenever anyone joins my rally, it's got to be a strong only. We want, you know, only the strongest to be in it. So this way, we have no problem taking out whoever's in it because I have the strongest stats in 125. And it was like, uh-oh, I had to send one march back. So we only had 938,000 troops comparative to like the 1.1 million that we were going to hit. And we were like, oh, we lost. Oh, we lost. Next thing you know, everyone hits everyone. Mom timed to be right before it closes. And my 938,000 beat just a little bit over a million. Not even like a full march. So they must have got a hit that wasn't that strong right before. So it just worked out and we just went bananas. Everyone in the law was like, oh, great job. Woo-hoo. And, in a state that's been around for so long, it's rare to kind of feel that way. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
So it was cool. It was cool to come down with the W.
That's pretty, yeah. I was say it's a lot of fun. I wish I had more time in order to do them because the limitations on just kind of those 5 hours to five selections can sometimes get a little annoying. But yeah, that was actually pretty fun. So those were our most memorable moments. Let me see if there's any other questions. You guys are welcome to put in any questions. I think I've gotten them all as we've been kind of going along. Let me see. Just doing a quick check here to see if there's any questions that I missed, but I think I got them all, at least so far. So you guys are welcome to add more. But yeah, I think we're getting close to wrapping up this episode of The Bunker. Now, big programming note. Starting next week, we are moving to a new day. Okay, we are moving to a new day. We are planning on streaming from now on Thursdays. Okay, so we're going to be moving it to Thursdays from Fridays. And I think largely because I think a lot of people have stuff to do on Fridays, especially myself and Delete with just family things. So it becomes easier for us to do it on Thursdays. Yes. So it'll be on Thursday nights. Delete, you're good with 8 or did we go with 9? I can't remember now. I think we said 9.
I think 9 because this way it gives my wife a little chance to get home and go from there.
Yes. So Thursday, 9 p.m. is going to be the new time for The Bunker Underground. Next week will be The Bunker Underground. Okay? So just keep that in mind. I'll set up an event in YouTube so you guys will be able to see it. But Thursday, 9 p.m. next week is going to be the new start time for all of that. Yeah, just real life has its implications. Delete and I do want to continue to do The Bunker and chat with you guys and talk about this game because we have fun doing that. But unfortunately, real life sometimes is just causing scheduling conflicts. And so we've been trying to find a good time here. And I think Thursday, 9 p.m. is going to be the much better time moving forward. So, Apex, dang it, I was able to use Bunker as an excuse for date night to be Monday night, so I didn't have to fight with the Friday crowds at restaurants.
That's funny.
It's true.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm. That's actually why Karma and I have our date night on Wednesday. We don't like date night on Fridays. For me, have ended up either visiting like my parents or the in-laws and stuff, so it just becomes like more difficult. It's actually not even a date night; it's just like family night for me, with just like parents and in-laws and stuff. I think for you, it is more family because you have kids and everything. So it's a hard night sometimes. Friday night is a big night. So
yeah, no, it was like my wife definitely got used to us not having or to like not having stream for a couple weeks on Fridays. She was just like, "Oh, this is nice. Oh, this is really nice." Because we've been doing stream for a while. It's been a long time.
No, we were at like 50 episodes when we had to take a little break because I was on vacations and McVenom was having her workload increased and everything. So we had like a month off, but prior to that, we were at episode 50. So we were
Yeah.
doing it for, wow, a solid like 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
So more than that, because it's 50 episodes with one a week.
Yeah, it's almost a year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're almost at a year. With only like a few off in between. So we will be moving it next week at Thursday again, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And so we hope to see you guys all there. We will continue to talk about State of Survival. There's a lot of stuff hopefully coming up with the update on Monday. So we should have a lot to talk about when we've actually seen the implementation of the new research stuff. We'll take a look at that. Given that I still have research, I do plan on taking some screenshots of some of my current times and then seeing how that works out, see what the changes are, so we can do a little bit of comparison to see how much they've improved it, maybe at different levels. So I'll try to do that here, but we should have a good amount of fun next Thursday at 9 p.m. So thank you guys so much for joining. I hope you guys did have a good episode of The Bunker. Sorry about the few technical glitches. I need to update some stuff on my computer apparently, so it's being all funky with that. But Delete, any last words for everyone?
No. Thanks for seeing us. Thanks for hanging out with us. And sorry I was late.
Yeah. Oh no.
Hopefully I
It's
made
all
up
good.
for it with a lot of talking.
Yes. Yes, you did. And don't worry, that is what this is about. So see how real life came to bite Delete in the butt on Friday? Just the way it works. I will say, for those of you that are here next week, for Thursday, for the first episode that we're doing on Thursday, expect a giveaway of some kind. I'm telling you right now, expect a giveaway of some kind. Just letting you guys know. Okay? Expect a giveaway. So, with that, I am Finn with Reality Skewed Gamers for Delete. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode of The Bunker, and we will see you guys next week, Thursday, 9 p.m. Take care, guys.
Rock on, Alan.